Greetings, fellow humans. Bad Mark here with another transmission from Metre Keyboards, and today we're taking a look at a new keyboard from Cannonkeys. It's the Photon, and it's also a keyboard that comes preloaded with ZMK. It's my first bout with ZMK, or the first time I'm giving it a shot, and I've got to say, they promise 4,000 hours of battery life on one charge. That's pretty insane, but from what I've heard, it basically sips power. I believe I got the teal version, so we're going to go ahead, open it up, build it, load it up with some switches, some keycaps, and do a sound test and see what it's all about. So let's go ahead and check out what's in the box. So in the box, we have the polycarbonate case, and it's already put together. The plate's in there, and the screws are in there. It looks like there's also a compartment for the battery. There is no daughter board, so despite it being gas mounted, that's why that USB-C port is a little bit opened up there. Not necessarily my preferred design, but you get what you get. We have a plate fork, indicating that this is going to be quite a flexi plate. We have our gaskets and our feet. We have a standard wire switch and keycap. We have the PC. So on the PCB, we can see that we have the radio right there. I'm going to guess this probably uses an ESP32 controller. We have a reset button. It looks like we do not have any alternate layouts. No, not even a caps lock alternate layout. We don't even have downward LEDs. Yeah, it says RGB, so it looks like we've got some downward facing RGB. We have a 1500 milliamp hour battery, and we have a braided USB-C to USB-A cable with the Cannonkeys logo on there. I bought this myself. It was $109. I would expect at least some screw-in stabilizers to be included. I didn't prepare for it because I figured it's going to have what I need to go ahead and build it, but no. Doesn't have screw-in stabilizers. So this is a plastic keyboard. Now granted, 4,000 hours of runtime on a single charge, I'll have to see it to believe it. But if I even get 100 hours out of it, I'd honestly be surprised. But $109 will buy me quite a number of aluminum wireless keyboards. Not 4,000 hours worth, but keyboards that come either pre-built or at least with stabilizers already included if it's bare bone. So I just, I don't know. That's my first disappointment. Let's hope there's no more. I mean, this is a pretty basic and kind of, I mean, $109 for this? Well, let's see. Let's hope that it actually has something. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt for right now, but I guess I'm going to have to go ahead and pull out some screw-in stabilizers. I would have prepared for some had I known, but all right. For a second there, I thought I was going to have to use spare stabilizers. I've got plenty of those, but I prefer to use one from the same kit. Thankfully, I found a couple of newer kits. They've got the paddings for them. The screws, it's a 1.6. This is 1.6. I got the washers. So at least we can do that. But for $109, I would like to think, I mean, I bought a Back and Echo from them for less than this. Heck, I bought a Brutalist from them less than this. So I must have not read close enough. I just assumed for the price that I'd be getting at least a set of stabilizers. But these, I like them. There's some GSM stabilizers. I've been using them for quite some time. The gold wires have always been nice and straight, and they've always delivered a good sound profile. So these should be good. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Load up the screw-in stabilizers. We don't have any foam whatsoever, so we're just going to leave it at that. So like I like to do with many of my builds, I like to kind of stay away from any other reviews or too much information about it. before just building the board. Now, this does look like it has spots for screwing. I mean, it does have the USB port, and it does actually have an OS switch, which, I mean, that's a positive. But this actually looks like it's a PCB meant to be tray mounted. So we'll have to see how well these gaskets mount. But I gotta say, off the bat, I am not impressed at all by this. This is $25, $30 worth of materials, and I paid more than 3 times that amount. This is just, I don't know. We're not off to the best of starts here. All right, so let's get these. All right, we got our stabilizer parts. Got our washers. We'll pull those out in a second. Let's go ahead and lay down the pads so we don't have any tapping on the PCB. All right, we've got the stabilizer pads installed. Now let's go ahead and build the stabilizers while we grease them up. This is G-Lube. It's Kazoo's original formula. I find it quite useful as a lubricant. Well, somehow or another, I hit stop recording at some point. So I've gotten all the gaskets in place. I didn't have any extras. I installed the switches and the stabilizers. The top row is north facing, and the rest of the rows are south facing, which I find quite odd. But I did use all the gaskets on both the corners and in the middles. There's one here, 2 on each side here, and then the ones along the bottom. I plugged in the PCB again. We're doing this stock. There is no foam. It has a lot less flex at the top and the bottom than it does in the middle. The middle is almost like hollow, so it's uneven. And I mean, no keycaps on here yet, so I don't know how it's going to sound. But honestly, I mean, I'm afraid to flex this too much. The lack of a daughter board on a gasket mounted keyboard, the switch sticking out, which I fear that that's going to break off. The fact that the design almost feels like a last minute change. Oh, let's flip it from south to north. The materials, everything that's included in here, from my experience with being on projects that were hardware related. I mean, it was different stuff, but it was PCBs and plastic, sometimes aluminum. This appears to me, if I were to guess how much this cost, if I had the designs and I sent it to go get made, at least, I don't know, 10 units. Much cheaper if you get more units, but 10 units, this would be a $30 project, honestly, because we're dealing with polycarbonate. We didn't include any screw-in stabilizers. There's no extra screws, no extra gasket. So if you lose a screw, that's it. There's no even mention of what size they are. There are holes matching with the PCB and the plate for, it looks like, for screw-in standoffs, but there are none. There are no extra screws. There's just, I don't feel this is a $110 keyboard. Now, if this was $49, I'd be like, yeah, I don't mind, throwing in the stabilizers. I don't mind that there's, no spare screws. I would like the size. That would be nice. But at $49, this would be great. But at $109, this is too much. Yes, it has ZMK, and yes, it has a lot of hours battery life, but I don't feel that the materials in this are worth it. And it's not like they created ZMK. They just used the MCU that's compatible with ZMK. So, I mean, thankfully for that, because there's not that many. There's mostly hand-wired board, but it's not that difficult process. Honestly, writing the firmware with QMK, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a couple hours, but most firmwares are not going to take more than a day of programming. As long as you have the specifics, the matrix, the MCU, and any libraries that you may need, it's not going to take more than an 8-hour day. An 8-hour day is actually, honestly, probably giving a little too much. So I'm having trouble finding the value, especially, now this come out 2020, 2021, I think it would be fair, to say $100, but today, I mean, because this doesn't even match, in my opinion, the quality of a KBD67. And, you know, they included screw-in stabilizers. They included extras. This, so far, it's just not worth the money, in my opinion. If you disagree with me, please let me know down in the comments below. Let's go ahead and pick out some keycaps and get to loading it up and see what the finished product sounds like. All right, so for keycaps, I'm going to go with, I think the colorway on this is Shoko. They're double shot PBT keycaps. I don't think they have a brand. I got them from Pulling Keys a while back when they had just, I want to say like 40, 50 sets, and they kind of disappeared like that. So I got a set before they were gone. But to keep in the colorway, these, I think, I mean, obviously I'm going with the color theme here. So we're going to go ahead and load these up, and then we can get to the sound test and see what the fuss is all about. And here we are with the fully built Photon from Cannonkeys, 65% polycarbonate, with the USB-C port on the motherboard, despite being gasket mounted. It does have the function key over here. I know some people like it. It's not necessarily my preference. I like it over here. I do use the right alt, but right control I hardly use, but I'm going to go ahead and just leave it the way it is right now. Like I said, we've got the MMD sea salt tactiles along with this double shot 1.4 millimeter PBT Shoko colorway, I do believe. Gotta say, the uniformity between the rows is not very good. Almost sounds like two different keyboards. One of the aspects of gasket mounting is obviously the softer feel, but is also to provide more of a uniformity across the rows going up and down. But this is not uniform at all. Almost every row sounds like it could be coming from a different keyboard. Again, the cheapness of it, this has incredible amount of flex. I have nerve condition. I don't have that much strength in my hands, but I'm positive that if I were to put all of my might, which isn't much, into this, I would easily crack it open. A 1500 milliamp hour battery, no screw-in stabilizers, no extra screws, no extra gaskets, no extra nothing. $109. I'm sorry, this isn't worth it. This is just not worth it. It's a bad design with the north-facing top row and the south-facing for the rest. And while it is ZMK and it will have plenty of time, I have 3D printed cases that felt it sounded better than this. So I'm not at all impressed. Let's go ahead and plug it in and check out the lights. I guess that's charging? I don't know. I looked on the website. I wasn't able to find a manual. I don't know if perhaps I am blind. Okay, so it does look like they can, you can add an encoder. There's an encoder kit. It has an option for another PCB with the battery, $60. $60 for a PCB? I mean, I can get a keyboard fully built for 60 bucks. A wireless keyboard at that. An extra set of gaskets, $7. The case and plate foam, $15. An FR4 plate, $25. Aluminum plate, $30. Carbon plate, $30. Another PC plate, $20. Extra top half of the case, $22.50. Extra bottom half of the case, $25. A keyboard sleeve, $11, and a pocket keyboard sleeve, $17. And a beginner build bundle to be determined. It says screws and hardware. I mean, I didn't get any screws and hardware. I guess I just don't get that. I mean, it wasn't anywhere in here. I opened up the box, I emptied it here. This is the only hardware that I got, was a plate fork and switch and keycap puller on a braided cable. There is no hardware. I feel like I'm missing hardware, but it's just, I don't know. I am honestly just very disappointed about this. Trying to find a manual, like which side is which, because it says it's this is a mode switch, an on and off switch, but I guess in the middle is Windows. I don't know. It really doesn't tell me much. It has a 7-degree angle of typing. Oh, it's 104. I thought I was 109. It says screws and hardware, so I guess I just got screwed on the screws. If you buy it, you get $10 off a nice PBT Basics. And they consider this a budget keyboard. I just get the impression that Cannonkeys either is ignoring the market or they're just purposely being rude about this, because this is not a budget keyboard. I mean, when the KBD 67, the Tiger 80 Lite that I just recently bought was $89 before shipping. And that's a TKL, and it's a much better keyboard than this. Now, it is not wireless, but it is a good keyboard. The KBD 67, which has been discontinued for a while, but it was pricier. I think the highest it was like 119, but I know I got it for 89. This is just, I don't understand what they're doing. It's like they're just ignoring the market, and we're like, oh, let's just pretend it's 2021 and we're going to sell this for that much. I don't see the value. I really don't. So yeah, that spot right there would be for the encoder. Why would you want an encoder in the middle? You want it at the top. That's where you put an encoder. You put it at the top corner. In the middle, that's just going to get in the way anytime you try to go use any key above it. I mean, that's a silly placement for an encoder. I will not be ordering one. And how much they want for this, it's just too much. And then $25 for them to build it for you? Come on. This keyboard should be $45, $49 at the most. Mac and Windows mode. Easily switch between modes. Which side is which? Can you tell me that much? Yeah, I think I got screwed on the hardware. I gotta believe that there are screws and standoffs for the plate, the PCB, but they just decided not to give them to me. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I want to support a US-based company because I'm based in the US, but when you're doing this is just, I mean, yes, I understand you need to make a profit, but gouging the customers, this is way too much money for this. This keyboard is not worth over $100 in no way, shape, or form, especially when this is $25 to $30 worth of materials, period. And that's with the screws and hardware that I didn't receive, because they just say screws and hardware. Well, does that just mean the screws that were already screwed into the plate, or am I missing something? I don't know. Oh, okay, never mind. I looked. They don't even have it linked on their on the page for the Photon. I went to 2 different pages for the Photon. It's not there. But then I go to docs.cannonkey.com, and there's a Photon build guide. And here it says installed screws. Okay, so it wasn't missing anything. They just don't include it. Yep, there's no standoffs. I don't know why those holes are there. All right, so towards escape is Mac. Towards the backspace is battery on, Windows. And in the middle is Windows layout, battery off. It has a base layer, a function layer, and a control layer. Yeah, I am not at all impressed with this. I gotta be honest with you. I guess I thought I was getting more. I really, really thought I was getting more. So as it doesn't have 2.4, it appears to have 4 slots for Bluetooth devices. Oh, and it uses UF2 for firmware. UF2 is where it shows up as a USB device. I have had nothing but headaches with UF2. I can't believe they did that, or I don't know if that's just the standard for ZMK. I do know that QMK can be loaded up on this. Apparently the back in Echo 60 works with ZMK now. I was not aware of that. I might have to pull out my back in Echo 60 and see about that. But anyway, so I guess that's a charging light. It's a lot of combinations. Function, right alt, space to toggle the RGB. Do I not have some keys working? So this is function. All the pictures, they show this as the function. So they don't even have the layout, right? So I got to pull out some keycaps and reorganize these. All right, I'm going to map that. This is home on the standard layout, but that's got to be delete for me, so I will be changing that. But so this is the layout. Function key is here, so function alt. Yep, that turns on and off RGB on the bottom. All right. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a horrible keyboard, but it's just not worth over $100. No way, shape, or form. They are definitely, I mean, and even with tariffs, even if you got 100% tariff on this, you're still making at least 250, 300% profit. I don't get it. Let's take a quick look at ZMK because this will be my first keyboard in ZMK. So let's go ahead and see what that's like. All right, so I will say this is my first time with ZMK Studio, so I wasn't aware of this whole lock mechanism. I had to look it up. So apparently you have to do a key combination to unlock the keyboard, which I don't see the particular purpose for that. I guess it's required, and if you leave it plugged in for a while, it's just going to lock again. There should be the ability to unlock it and leave it unlocked, but I wasn't able to find it. Taking a look at the interface, when I first brought it up, I got to say, I was like, wow, do they think I'm blind? Because basically the keyboard almost filled up the entire screen, and I'm at a 2K resolution here, so I don't know what that's all about. ZMK Studio, I know it's newer, but I didn't find it very intuitive. Although I do like the fact that when you click on a particular key in the function layer, it actually tells you what it is down below. So, you know, some of them have icons, but I don't know why it has WASD and IJKL as mapped for page up, page down, home, and end. I really do not. The end for the mute, the regular mappings, for one, don't match the pictures that are on Cannonkeys website, but at least I was able to make it more of a not make me feel like I'm an old blind man, and the size. Now we have the basic layers here, and I guess we could rename them, but it has the base win, the function win, the base Mac, the function Mac, and then the keyboard control layer where it allows you to do the RGB changes. Now, I guess you can select different functionalities and you can do different key combinations, but again, the interface, and I know that this is new, so I'm not really knocking on it. I do look forward to it getting better. It feels very unintuitive at first. Being someone who primarily did back end, but at times had to do front end design, I personally, because I dog fooded any design that I did, I made it as intuitive as possible, because you basically have to develop an interface assuming the end user has no clue about what they're doing, especially because if it's the first time they're using it, they're most likely not going to have the knowledge of what does what. So a little bit of, I mean, heck, even just an onboarding would have been nice. So, and then for changing the keys, you have to get into the control layer, which you basically have to do two modifiers, first modifier, second modifier. But then because the RGB is below, you kind of have to make the changes look. So I just kind of just left it as a single blue. But that's not the biggest of deals. Like I said, I know ZMK is a work in progress, so I hope that they become a little bit more intuitive, and onboarding would be great. A little bit more information about how the interface works would be way better than it is done right now. But again, I know they're just starting out, and they have compatibility with a lot more wireless MCUs, which is a good thing. And they also, because of the MCUs, they're using much less power. So this having a 15 milliamp hour battery isn't like having a 1500 milliamp hour battery in a QMK keyboard, as those MCUs are going to be a little bit more power hungry. This is going to sip power. Okay, so that's how you turn it on and off. Thank you. Okay, so at least I was able to find that. Again, the layout that they have shown in the pictures is not the same layout as it comes programmed, but again, you can change it. There are basically the 3 layers plus the control layer, which appears to be the same for Windows and Mac. In the Mac mode, obviously the function keys are going to revert to the mission control keys. I have reviewed now, I want to say close to 500 keyboards. I may have passed 500, but I'm right around 500 keyboards. And I have seen the hobby change over the last 5 years and go from keyboards like this that were, you know, 100, 120 bucks 5 years ago, to keyboards with this set of features, maybe more, like RGB, all south facing instead of a mix, QMK, aluminum keyboards that are less than this, and they come preloaded with switches, keycaps, extra switches, stabilizers, way more than this includes. Now, I like kits because I like having the choice of removing foams, putting foams in, taking foams out. This has none of that. It has screws or holes for screws for standoffs, so that you can, you know, actually separate the plate. But there's not even an option for, you know, plate PCB foam, case foam, because there's definitely room in there for it. I'm actually curious about perhaps in the future, if I have the time to come back to this, to load it up with maybe a silicone pour, and then do some foam between the plate and PCB, and probably do an IXPE or the PE foam along with a layer of PET and Tempest tape mod. I think that would bring a lot more sound to it. Right now, I just feel that it has more of a clacky sound to it, even though these switches, they sound much deeper on their own. Like putting it in here, just because of all that space down below. And again, you have the battery over here, so there's more of a deeper because there's something below it, but over here it's more clacky. There's no uniformity, not only going up and down the rows, but going across because of that battery being right there. I would have put the battery more centered, but then again, I would have made every row the same orientation. It just, to me, this screams poor design. Again, I was primarily a software developer, but I was brought in on at least a couple of dozen hardware projects that I either just, you know, put in some opinions or actually did some work on, you know, the design of this, or was able to point things out that other people didn't see, you know, like, hey, what about this? Oh, but this is not a well-designed keyboard. It is cheap materials. They skimp out on everything that they could have included, like, I mean, just a little bit of foam to give options, an IXPE sheet for above the PCB, some screws for the plate and PCB so that you don't have to deal with, you know, a plate fork. A lot of things could have been done better, but the way that this sits, this keyboard, $49, I'd say buy it all day long. Great keyboard to use with ZMK, get to learn it and, you know, mod it, because if you're going to want a sound that's more than just the clacky, cheap plastic and ununiform, or the non-uniform sound profile, you're going to have to mod it. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoy modding keyboards, but that means I should be paying less because I'm getting a lot less than I would be with any other keyboard. I mean, even their back and echo is less. Well, one on sale, I think it's about the same right now, well, depending on which back and echo, because there's Go as well. But I am not at all impressed with this keyboard. And if somebody were to ask me, should I get it? Well, if you feel paying double what this should be being sold for is worth it, and especially you having to build it. I mean, yes, part of the fun is building it, but that's also a cost that they're saving, because when they have a built keyboard, not a kit, they have to pay more, whether they're building it or it's being built at the factory and being sent to them already built. So that's even, less of a cost, because they charge $25 to build this. I mean, really, $25, but they don't say, does that include the stabilizers? No, you probably have to pay for those. And I don't know. I want to support a US-based company, but when they're doing things like this and just overcharging and selling what I just feel is a poor product for this price, it's hard for me to say, yay, spend the extra money. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but I mean, the price of everything has gone up. So a lot of us don't have as much disposable income as we used to. But not only that, the fact is that keyboard prices have come down while quality and features have gone up. And this feels, at the price it's at, feels more like a keyboard from 2021 than it feels like a keyboard from 2025. And all I can do is remain honest and be truthful about my opinion. I honestly, for what I paid, I feel that I paid twice too much for it. And I don't know, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Anyway, I will stop complaining. I know when I don't like something, I'm just very clear I don't like it. When I like something, I will shout it from the rooftops. But when I don't like something and when I feel that a company is really overcharging for something, I can't help but say something, because I am a consumer. I purchased this. I paid too much money for this. Can I get a refund? No. It's a custom build, so I'm basically SOL. And I don't know. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I have a couple of other Cannonkeys keyboards. Like I said, they had a clearance a while back, and I was able to get a Brutalist, WKL, TKL, and a Brutalist 65. And both of them, or each one of them, were cheaper than this one. And they're aluminum keyboards. So, I mean, they regularly sell for $300, but they were cheaper than this one was, each unit. And it's aluminum, gasket mounted, ZMK via nice looking keyboards. Hopefully they're nice once I build them. I haven't had a chance. I was going to build the Brutalist first, the 65, and when I opened it up, it had no gaskets. And unfortunately, I didn't check when I first received it. So I reached out to Cannonkeys, and they were like, oh, sure, let's take care of that. Show us the packing slip. I'm like, I don't have the packing slip. I mean, I've got the boxes that they're in, but I had saved the shipping box or the packing slip. Nothing on there said save this for whatever reason. So I had to pay for, there was a misunderstanding, because she's like, oh, you got a shipment coming to you. We'll put them in there, because that's what the email states. And the shipment was this Photon. The Photon arrived. There was no gaskets. And they're like, well, you didn't pay. I'm like, you didn't tell me I had to pay. Well, we sent you an invoice. No, you didn't. Oh, well, we meant to send you an invoice. So I had to pay $7 plus shipping and handling just for a set of gaskets that should have already come with the keyboard I bought. I've done my best to give Cannonkeys every benefit of the doubt, but I'm just getting to the point that I'm just going to not bother with them anymore. I mean, I'll build the keyboards I already have from them, but I don't think I'll be doing anything else with Canon keys, regardless of what they come out with, because charging way too much money, they're taking advantage of the customer, and they just, like I said, the customer service, very poor. This is the only time I've had to reach out to them. And then, why do you charge me for something that's missing? Oh, because you don't have the packing slip. Nothing on the packing slip said, I'm like, because I asked, where on the packing slip does it say, save this? Nowhere. So how am I supposed to know that I have to save a packing slip? I have the email, I have the receipt of receiving it, and it came in a case. When I went to open it, it was the first time I went to open it. I mean, I did open it to take a look at it real quick. Okay, looks nice, but I didn't check every little thing in there. I didn't think I had to. I think it would include what it's supposed to include. That's why I kind of got the impression that I maybe didn't get extra screws or standoffs with this, which I guess I didn't, because it doesn't look like they included it, even though the design has it. But again, a top row that's north facing with the rest rows south facing, very poor design. I don't like it. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with a sound test and stop my my negative impressions about this keyboard. Honestly, I can't recommend it. If it was $49 all day long, buy it. It's a great little build. You can learn from it. 49 bucks, well worth it. At $109, it's double the price that it should be. Don't waste your money. If you appreciate your money and you work hard for your money, don't waste your money on this. Anyway, again, if you have any thoughts, questions, comments, opinions, disagree with me, that's fine. Remain respectful. We can have a disagreement about this, but I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Right now, I'm going to leave you with the stock sound test with the MMD Sea Salt tactiles and the Shoko PBT double shot cherry keycaps. I want to wish everyone out there a wonderful rest of your day, and until the next transmission, remember to keep calm, keyboard on.